Oh, just let me out.
That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me oh, just let me out.
Today I'll be discussing something different. A vintage watch that is a family heirloom. My grandfather passed it down to my mother, who passed it down to me. So it has seen 3 generations of wear, and that's quite special. I made a video about the watch a year ago, but at the time I don't think it received the attention it deserved. And now that this channel has a greater audience, I thought it might be a nice time to have a look at it and have a discussion about it in the comments. I would love to hear if you inherited a watch as well. So this watch is something that I usually don't talk about. It is a watch from a different time. This Rotary dress watch originates from the 1960s, in a time where the brand was Swiss and considered to be a very well-made watch in the industry. As a brand, Rotary were known for making dress watches, and what we can visually tell is that this model mirrors the classic tank design, pioneered by Cartier in the early 20th century. As we know, this design has stood the test of time and influenced many watchmakers. Arguably, we can say that the design influenced all watchmakers. Looking at the dimensions, it has a 30mm case diameter, 18mm lug width, and a lug-to-lug length of 35mm. The case height, including the case back and crystal, sits between 6 and 8mm. The crystal is acrylic. The case back is made from stainless steel and has a serial number on the back. Looking at the last 2 numbers, I'm assuming that this watch was made in 1967. It is also mechanical and needs to be hand wound. The most striking feature for me is the dial. I don't know what the industry would call it, but I would assume it's a linen dial. I have no idea how it was made, what material it was made from, and how it was finished, but the dial complements the black numerals and the 9-karat gold case. There is a lot of charm to it, and it plays so nicely with the light. Bringing the watch up closer, we can inspect it in greater detail. The Roman numerals are all painted well onto the dial, and at the 6 o'clock position you can see that it was Swiss-made during a time when those words were valid. The logo has not changed since then, and is neatly printed in the center of the dial. You can see the distinct watchmaker's 4, which, if you did not know, is done for congruence between the 8 and the 12. If you squint your eyes, you can see that the numerals visually create a triangle between the 3 points. So this watch has seen the world. It has traveled everywhere from Egypt to Israel, throughout Europe, throughout the United Kingdom, and across the United States and Canada. It has lived quite a life. As far as I know, the acrylic crystal has been replaced in the past, and possibly the leather strap. And it has been serviced once or twice. But let's see what it looks like on the wrist. On my 6 3/4 inch wrist, the watch wears, well, small. But again, what I find so striking about it is the dial. When it plays with the light, it creates a much bigger visual presence than its nominal size. It is extremely low in profile, and I reckon it is a watch that could be worn on any occasion. It's a watch that definitely comes from a time when pieces were not supposed to be ostentatious or in your face. Those were the days when it was considered vile to display what you owned. And I'd say the same about the design language at the time. Overall, it is small, but it really packs a punch above its weight. An amalgamation of Art Deco and classical influences. Now, there will always be a romance between this watch and me. It is not something I chose, it was something I was given, and that makes it infinitely more precious. There is history to it too, which also makes it more valuable. And speaking objectively, I think it is a very charming watch. The case is quite fascinating and unique. The combination of black and gold is always going to be visually striking, and it is extremely legible at a glance from almost any angle. But I would like to know your thoughts, and again, I would be very interested in hearing what watches were handed down to you. To all my new subscribers, welcome, thank you for joining, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers for now.